We're going to begin in Lebanon, where Israeli airstrikes have been carried out in central Beirut. At the meantime, the United Nations peacekeeping force UNIFIL says Israeli troops have repeatedly opened fire on its positions in the south. Let me just bring you some of the pictures that we're getting now from central Beirut. These are the pictures that we're getting at the moment. I believe we can show them to you. We can see large clouds of smoke which have been rising above central Beirut. This is different to the attacks that we have seen in the past. These are the pictures that I'm talking about now. These are the ones at sunset, at dusk in central Beirut. You can see there the clouds of smoke up above the buildings from the attacks that we're just reporting on. This is breaking news that's coming out from Beirut. These are in a different location to what we have seen from previous attacks in southern Beirut, where Israeli troops, Israeli military has been saying it has been attempting to target Hezbollah strongholds in the south of the city. This, as I say, is towards the north of the city. Now, we don't have a lot of information about what's happening there. Of course, as soon as we're going to get to that and get more information on that, we will bring it to you. But I want to bring in Elijah Magnier. He's a military and security analyst. He's joining us here in the studio. Just let's talk about that breaking news first of all. As I mentioned before, predominantly we have seen the attacks in the south part of Beirut, aimed predominantly, according to Israeli military, at Hezbollah strongholds. This one appears to be towards the north of the city. Do we have any indication of why those attacks may have moved further north?
This is the area of Ras al-Naba. It is part of Beirut. This is a target assassination of Hezbollah target. Most probably, Israel is not attacking only the suburb of Beirut. That is a majority Shia dominance, but this is not a base of Hezbollah, because Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese population that exists mainly in the south of Lebanon, in the Bekaa Valley, in the suburb, but also in other parts of Beirut, the capital. And this, most probably, as we have seen last week, for example, the Israelis targeted the flat that belonged to a member of the Lebanese parliament, that is a Hezbollah MPs in Beirut, very close to this area that was bombarded only a few minutes ago. Therefore, the target for Israel is not necessarily related to the location, a specific location, but everywhere. There are no red lines. Anywhere they consider there is a valuable target for them, they have to go for it and they have to assassinate this target. But most cases, there are dozens of civilians that are killed also, what the Israelis call collateral damage.
I want to ask you about that because, again, we're just looking at some of the pictures of the Beirut skyline. There's the shots we saw earlier on. Again, this seemed to be part of the city, which is very densely populated. And as you were referring to, Israel will invariably say that these are targeted attacks, but invariably civilians do get, at the very least, injured and at worst killed.
But not only that, there is damage to other buildings around because, as you said, it is a very densely populated area in Beirut, in a suburb. Beirut is really extremely crowded. There are hundreds of thousands of people living close one to another, and targeting one flat or one floor or one building, they will result in heavy civilian casualties, which Israel consider unaccountable and can do that only to hit one target. But it also indicates something else. In the last 3 days, we haven't seen the Israelis hitting any specific target in Beirut or elsewhere, which means that these are improvised targets, updated, because Israel, in the first week of the campaign against Lebanon, has exhausted its bank of objectives, hitting thousands of targets that Israel considered they belong to Hezbollah, either effectives as military, as personnel, commanders, or members of the organization. And now it is only targeting occasionally what is intelligent services are collecting new information on the ground because the bank of objective has been exhausted.
As we were seeing from the pictures of the plume of smoke, it seems very, very black. It seems to be a very large fire at the base of that plume of smoke, which might give us some indication of the strength of the impact of the missile or whatever it is, projectile that's been used in that, which has our correspondent Gabriel Elizondo was talking to us about a couple of hours ago, saying that the medical facilities in Gaza are absolutely destroyed, and referring to the fact that we're now seeing a similar situation in Lebanon. And one would imagine, again, with the number of casualties we're likely to see from ongoing attacks by the Israeli military, that is only going to put more pressure on Lebanon's medical facilities and its infrastructure, which, as we know, has already been suffering because the economy is struggling and its politics is in chaos.